Hello and welcome to the weekly Kashmir University Video Digest Quest. I'm your host Beenish Ali, and in today's episode we bring to you the university's efforts in emancipation of women and encouraging women participation in every field. The University of Kashmir has the distinction of encouraging women education from its inception. Nearly 70 years later, the number of female students in the university today is almost 50%. A good number of female academics are also teaching here. Besides that, the university has a good number of female non-teaching staff as well. Overall, the university can take pride in being the harbinger of women emancipation. Women must gain control of their lives and have an equal share in decision making. Women's struggle is for social justice and equality, which is their birthright in any civilized society. Although women have progressed a bit, but their treatment in the society still needs to undergo a lot of change. The structural inequalities by which women are subjected to systematic injustice and violence need to be eliminated. The need of the hour is to change the collective conscience of the people in order to break this patriarchal structure. During this year, the university, in keeping with its tradition of emancipating women, organized many programs, seminars, and conferences. The university regularly observes the International Women's Day to raise awareness about women emancipation and the issues they face. On this day, many functions are held to commemorate the event. This year's main attraction of the International Women's Day was a seminar on sensitization of police and media personnel in curbing violence against women.
We all need to make individual efforts and work in a coordinated form in order to work together and curb down this menace, whether it's eve teasing, whether it's dowry menace, whether it's divorce rates, or any other problem that women face. Why we thought of this particular seminar, as per the schedule, we see that different resource persons will be interacting to see what laws are there, what machinery is there in place, and what are the lacunae, and how we can strengthen up this particular machinery in order to have the less rate of crime against women.
During the seminar, academics, journalists, scholars, and police personnel presented their views on the problems that women face in their daily life. They also discussed the possible solutions through which these problems can be redressed. It was observed that had there been more women cops and women police stations, things would have been different.
I believe the greatest revolution was Qulu la ilaha illallah tuflihun. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam educated that Arab area wherein women were not treated sensibly. Women were buried alive, and probably all of us are witness to the episode which was narrated to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And when the episode was being narrated, Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Please stop. Don't go beyond it." But today, in the civilized world, don't we do the same thing in a civilized manner? There is something wrong with the system. That the system is not in place. System somehow has broken down. Which somehow compels us to actually re-educate ourselves that what is our role, what we should do, what we should not do.
There are certain specific reasons for the lack of appropriate response to offences against women in police. The cult of masculinity prevalent in the department makes the police officers hold some stereotypes about violence against women. The stereotypes lead to certain standard patterns of police response, like rape being a victim precipitated crime, non-serious response to cases of sexual harassment to workplaces and eve-teasing, marital right of man to discipline his wife, irrational and nagging attitude of women are unfortunately still ruling the rules in our society.
We have somehow gotten into a race to be modern, at the same time to be conserved. See, there are two kinds of options in the world. You will see the least bit of crime against women in societies which are so-called advanced or in societies which are so-called conserved. So the choice is ours, whether we want to be so-called modern or we want to be so-called conservative. You cannot have the both. When a baby is born in a Desi couple in US, because of his culture at home versus the culture outside, he is rendered to be called ABCD, American born, confused Desis. Because they neither meant Americans nor are they Desis. We have somehow gotten ourselves involved into what we call disorganized growth. Somehow we have, in the heart of hearts, we are in an inferiority complex that we want to be as good as Westerners are.
The experts also discussed mechanisms and laws available for women folk to safeguard their dignity and honor.
The issue is really very serious. Just by discussing, it can't be addressed. Society has to come forth. Once the society awakens, I think the change will definitely come. Police will do its work, media will do its work, and everybody will fall in line.
If a woman is putting her labor from dawn to dusk, our society is, we wake our women to work in the offices and also at homes, double shift. And irony of this is that despite of doing so much of hard labor and earning and creating assets, national income of the country doesn't account that. No contribution of the woman in the national account.
Media trial of women issues, use or abuse. This is concerning the media hype which is made out of some of the issues which may be trifle sometimes, which may have a greater magnitude.
What's important is that we have to create an atmosphere where woman, irrespective of her status, irrespective of her knowledge, irrespective of her economical, or the educational status, she is respected as a woman, as a sister, as a daughter. That will start, as Professor Niloufar Khan was saying, that starts right from the home.
Dear viewers, we know that despite all this talk of women empowerment, one cannot deny that violence against women continues. This despicable thing remains even in those houses where women are financially independent. Violence is a constant threat to women's safety and dignity. In order to aware the society, various departments of the university organize seminars on this menace.
Workplace violence against women still remains an unacknowledged and unrecognized phenomena that we are still striving to understand and apprehend. Many even would not agree that there is an issue called workplace violence against women, and others have restricted it to physical assault and harassment only. But the matter of the fact is that it is multifaceted and multidimensional and has far-reaching socio-psychological and economic implications. Workplace violence gained increasing attention and focus over the last decade, with reports of disgruntled employees coming to the offices and harassing the women colleagues in one form or the other. The behaviors of an unwelcome nature which occur in a work context that could reasonably be expected to make a person feel offended, humiliated, or intimidated. Such statements are hard to accept, harder to witness, and hardest to experience.
We can take some satisfaction so far as the education of women is concerned. It has made good progress in Kashmir. They have also made good progress so far as the economic empowerment is concerned, like jobs. They have equal opportunities of jobs. But what is the gray area is that there is no human empowerment. We have not been able to change the structural inequalities by which women are subjected to systematic injustice in the society, discrimination in the society. And there is an invisible set of assumptions and postulates by which actually governs the entire society and which affects the treatment of women in the society. And those invisible assumptions are that woman is inferior to man, And because of this understanding, because of this mindset, she is subject to so many injustices in the society.
A number of academicians, scholars, and civil society members discussed the significance of liberating women from violence. During the seminars, academics and civil society members spoke about the different forms of violence against women. The experts found that it is the patriarchal structure which condones violence against women.
You have to use coercive apparatus. Coercive apparatus जो है वो जो चाहे आप ये इंस्टीट्यूशन चाहे कानून है मतलब prevention of violence, चाहे डोमेस्टिक वायलेंस हो, चाहे वर्क प्लेस में वायलेंस हो, या उसके लिए इंस्टीट्यूशनल फ्रेमवर्क, उसके लिए लीगल फ्रेमवर्क वो जरूरी है. चलिए दोनों जो है यानी फ्रॉम बिलो एंड फ्रॉम अबव, both the mechanisms are very important in order to stop this cruelty. Human being has to keep this in mind कि उसके साथ हमें ज्यादा रेस्पेक्ट और ऑनर करना है.
There are different types of violences defined in the law faced by the women facing elsewhere, but here at workplace we have an harassment act known as sexual harassment at workplace. It's prohibition and prevention and redressal. This harassment act workplace as a phenomena acquired its name only in late 70s. Historically, it was ignored, denied, and made to seem very trivial, as if it is nothing. And in certain places, it was implicitly supported at the workplace by the management of the higher authorities.
My humble request to you is that just if you see somewhere at home, on road, in office, anywhere, if you see some women is suffering silently because of this harassment, because she cannot talk to anybody, please guide her and send her to the right forum so that we can help her and she can seek justice. Otherwise, this is going to be a very, very big problem, because we can see the presence of women in every office now, and there are some offices where we have visited, there are more women than men. And this problem, if this crops up in our society, we are facing so many other problems. This will be another problem for the women folk who won't be able to work in a cordial and congenial atmosphere. So make sure you guide these women and send them to right forums, and so that they can talk. The first thing is, if we cannot redress the problem, but definitely if she talks, if she gives vent to her emotions, we can make a lot of difference to the society.
They were forthright in their experiences and put forward some suggestions as well.
First thing that we can do is, we girls and women in general already have our notions of what men ought to be like. So we as women ought to and need to come out of our definitions of what you mean by a good man, what you mean by a man. And by man, we certainly do not mean a tough and a silent kind of a guy. By man, we mean a kind of a man who learns and has already learned to respect a woman. And respecting a woman starts at the level of family.
More and more today, the responsibility is on the younger generation to engage in a dialogue. We don't have to fight. We don't have to quarrel. We don't have to argue. You have to engage in a dialogue with your parents. Let's start from the home. Home, your father. Now I am a daughter and my father. Now it's my responsibility to educate him. Patriarchy is not only male domination nowadays, it's also how certain organizations and cultural narratives function. So it is also patriarchy is acting on various levels, and the best way is to educate, dialogue, don't fight always, dialogue, understand and educate.
Once you live in a society, in a patriarchal society, it creates a certain subjectivity. It creates an idea of a man who is supposed to behave a certain way. And if that man refuses to conform to that idea, life gets absolutely difficult.
The university's EMMRC has also produced a film, Eve's Silent Nightmares, that deals with the street sexual harassment of women and discusses the laws that are there to protect the women from this menace. Here's a look at the film.
आई थिंक हर कोई लड़का ये चाहता है कि मैं कूल बनूंगा अगर मैं किसी लड़की को पीछे पीछे चलूंगा या आप उसको फॉलो करोगे.
Of course, they're more than prevalent in our city. They happen on a day-to-day basis, every day when you travel.
अगर आपके साथ जाती होती है तो आप थाने में आ जाइए बिला मतलब डर के आपकी जो कार्रवाई होगी वो हो जाएगी.
With this, we come to the end of today's program. In case you have missed some part of the program, log on to emmrckashmir.com where you can watch the whole episode. Send us your suggestions at our email address quest@emmrckashmir.com. Before I take your leave, here are a few words of wisdom. The roots of education are bitter, but the fruit is sweet.